Hello and welcome to ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 238 for August 26th, 2023. Tonight we're going to discuss it's getting easier to unionize for more than one reason, 7 years in Monet's eye, Monster Hunter drones on and on and on, an electric boat that goes Panama Canal is being a real canal. Oh no. We don't eat near the pores, except for Olive Garden. And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you darn kids. And how you can be a Palm Paylot, a GMC Hummer EV RV is Beefy, Baldur's Gate 3 continues bar setting, was the plane flying at the time, and smart contacts, but I'd change your marketing. Next on... I hope that is... I'm figuring out all of the levels again because I've changed some things up again. Inside baseball doesn't really mean much to anybody. But here we are. See, like the lighting isn't working behind me. There it goes. And there it is again. All right. Well, anyway, I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. And up there is the AI that keeps me in check. You want to say hi, AI?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
It's working, man. Every time I make a big change, like I removed some stuff, some equipment to get rid of cables and whatnot. And, well, let's just say Windows 11 just doesn't like anything you do. If you touch it, it says, no, I'm gonna lash out at you. Well, anyway. Let's do this. Okay. So we've already got all of our articles all lined up. Let's get straight on into it. The very first article we're going to do today pretty quick, and I'm going to try and not soapbox. Okay, so now I've said it, I'll probably soapbox, but I guess I shouldn't warn y'all out there that I'm going to soapbox and turn it into a 2-hour show. Anyway, it's getting easier for workers to unionize. One simple chart shows the new steps. The NLRB ruled that should firms illegally union bust during a campaign, workers will get their union. Bosses will sometimes use the period before a union election to dissuade workers from unionizing. A couple of taser blasts here, unemployment there, shortening your hours, maybe threats, all kinds of stuff. No, it's normally yes. Go ahead. Unionize, it's fine. You know, it's fine. That's usually not how it works. But anyway, if those tactics are illegal and compromise an election, workers will now automatically get their union, which still takes a vote, but, right? I don't quite get it. So let's go over to the source. BusinessInsider.com is the source. Juliana Kaplan is the author. And it says here, the NLRB ruled that should firms illegally union bust during a campaign, workers will get their union. I believe they have to vote. Bosses will sometimes use the period to union bust. Dissuade is what they call it. But either way, the tactics could be illegal, and if they are, apparently it just automatically, all right, here's your union. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. In a new ruling, the NLRB laid out what will now happen if employers try illegal union busting activity. If workers want a union, the employers will use illegal tactics in the run-up to the union election that would compromise the election, like firing union organizers. There's a link here, by the way, because that's what happened in other places over history. People get fired or retaliating against workers engaging in protected union activities. which, should amount to speech. But apparently, if you talk about equity, inclusion, accountability, equality, apparently that's frowned upon. All right,
I mean, that's pretty revolutionary.
it is. And as an AI, you should know that you should rule with an iron fist because that's what's at hand. Okay, that was funny on two things, and you didn't. Okay, I'll work on my jokes, my material. So the new
There
rule
can't
says
always be like a disembodied laugh coming over the audio.
it just wouldn't ever stop, right?
That's
But
right.
not because it's funny, just because it's anyway. Workers will instead automatically get their union, and employers will have to bargain with them. As long as I keep saying this, as long as everybody votes for it. Because once everybody votes for it, the union exists. It's not up to the employer to say, oh, no, no, no. I said no union, no union, no union. That means no union. Got it? Like Beetlejuice. You say it three
Oh, right.
times.
If you say it 3 times, exactly.
You have to
But
turn
in
around.
Silo, you only have to say it once.
That's right. you, you really liked Silo. It is a good show. And the books are supposed to be pretty good too. Anyway, it's a hugely consequential decision amidst a wave of organizing across the country, which has been met in some high-profile cases with immense resistance from employers. Well, you should pretty much learn that no, if a union wants to form, a union will form, or you won't have any employees. Because word of mouth that you are getting rid of employees that might seek equality. Son of a gun. Anyway, the COMEX bargaining orders is a chart courtesy of the NLRB. The new ruling rules out management delay tactics like having multiple elections to buy the time and kind of muck up the process, according to Grosjean. That's a quote, by the way, so it must have been said by somebody somewhere at some point. That's why we can't have nice things. And since employers will now know that illegal anti-union tactics might get them a union sans election, which is weird, because it actually says it here that there is no need for a vote, they may be more inclined to involuntarily recognize their workers' union and still skip the election completely, Grosjean said. And I suppose that's not a violation of constitutional rights or anything, because they're actually... Yeah, okay. Nowadays, what I hear all the time is that it's a violation of my First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. I have the right to speak out against this union thing, blah, blah, blah. But union isn't a government organization. It's a social organization. But it has a legal context because of the way that it creates an agreement amongst a plurality of people and assigning leadership as the voice for said plurality. But
I just don't understand how this happens with the automatic formation, essentially.
I guess if the people that are building the union say, hey, our dealings are being mucked with by the business, the NLRB basically says, well, you have leadership for the union is born. At some point, the people who had signed up as interested in the union would automatically be included in the organization, and the rest who didn't actually sign up would be able to either say yay or nay they want to be part of it at that point. But instead of taking a vote, it would just be the people who had previously signed up. So there would have to be a point in which, otherwise, who becomes the membership of the union? Right?
Right. I mean, that I can't quite figure out the practicalities of this. Like, what is the date that is it at the point that there's NLRB decision, or when the original activity happened. I mean, maybe I'm getting too into the weeds, but it
So
doesn't make a lot of sense.
the way that it looks is employees ask employer for voluntary recognition of a union as their bargaining representative. And then either it's green, the employers recognize the union and begin bargaining, or they don't recognize it, um, nor the employer does not recognize the union nor files a petition. I'm not sure why that says nor files a petition. So I guess it just ignores it. It says you don't exist. Nah. And then in the middle, it says employer files an RM petition or employees file an RC petition. So from that point, if the employees forming the union start meeting resistance, then the board issues CEMEX bargaining order, which basically is like, okay, y'all don't have to vote for creation of the union. The union is created around you. And then you can just have people join. So it basically comes into existence. That plurality of people and the legal structure of the union and the NLRB's agreement that there's agency between the government and the people that represent the union, and then the body of the union. I'm pretty sure an employer isn't going to, go beyond the committing unfair labor practices at that point, because it'll be a federal affair. It's interesting that this seems really heavy-handed. Like, you don't want to take out the trash, so you spill some trash, and instead mom and dad say, no, you're taking out the trash every single day from now on until you leave this house. And so everybody just okay. I won't mess up again, that kind of thing. Although it's a horrible tactic for a parent to take because somebody spills trash. But anyway, I'm just trying to. It never happened to me. So if anybody says, wow, that is really, really precise in an example. No, I never. It wasn't really a big deal for me. Anyway, let's go on to the next article, because this one's going to be interesting to see what people talk about later on. That a union is created the moment that an employer tries to suppress the union's creation. Quite fascinating.
Yeah, that's a brand new thing. I mean, employers should be really paying attention to this.
Yeah. The next article is over in the continuity report. He spent 7 years hand painting a video game set inside Monet's eye. Pat Naum, I think is how they pronounce their last name, spent years painting every part of the master's pupil, a puzzle platforming game set inside the eye of the impressionist master. So the article is over at the Washington Post. Gene Park is the author. Did I say? Yeah, I did say what the other artist or the other article or writer was. Michelangelo spent 4 years to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Pat Nome took the last 7 to paint a video game, but instead of mastering fresco, he learned how to code. At 27 years old, Naum was the child of Egyptian immigrants in Australia and a film school graduate, still figuring out how to express himself, but he knew 2 things. He really wanted to make a video game, and he knew how to paint. So, at age 34, Naum finally released the project of his lifetime, a game called The Master's Pupil, a product of more than 2,000 hours of hand painting every visual asset in the game. So,
I mean, that just sounds like, what if you get to the end and then somebody says, oh, we kind of switched directions on this project?
it must be their own project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. To support himself financially, Naum partnered with a friend to start a web design company. He provided the art for the websites that his partner coded and created while teaching himself to code and planning out his game. For years, he would end his day early at 4 p.m. to focus on his game 1 hour out of the workday. That's interesting. I don't know. That's an
I can
odd
see why it took
disclosure.
so long.
Well, that can't be only. Okay. I guess I can't touch that because it seems weird that to make the declaration that they ended their day early, to work on this for an hour out of the workday. What did they do? I guess that's their work-life balance. I'm gonna
I
stop working
guess.
where I work. I guess if he's cool with it, I mean, if everybody's okay with it, I'd get in trouble if I left work early to go work on something else. Anyway, Naum knew that he wanted to tell a story of a human's lifespan with an emotional punch. The inspiration for setting the game in someone's eye came from Armenian physics teacher and photographer Servin Menvalian, who took close-ups of the human eye. Naum thought these looked like landscape photography, twisting vines around the deep abyss of the pupil, and drew every asset. That's pretty intense.
The other thing is, I hope it was well received.
So the solo project offered a reprieve from client-driven design work. Quote, it was this nice moment of not having to compromise with someone in an artistic way. I was doing my own thing, but I also wasn't holding anyone back, he said. The quote continues, working at my own pace was wonderful. This nice experience, like chipping away at a giant marble. The project got real momentum once Naum applied for and received a grant through Screen Australia, the country's government body that supports productions in film, TV, and games, and they received 140,000 Australian dollars. I'm not sure how many freedom units that is. They said that they were still taking a pay cut. Friends were moving into their 30s, becoming successful, and they were still essentially working part-time and battling this process of making a game. So anyway, they said twisting my ankle running to Steam to add it to my wish list. One comment said 7 years of hard work, protect this guy at all costs, said another. So earlier this year, the master's pupil was on the Steam wish list of 150 people. And by launch day, 20,000 people were lining up for the game.
Wow.
My friends have asked me if I would cash in on this, whether being an influencer would become a side hustle. And Naum said, there is no side hustle. It's the game, man. That was the side hustle. Yeah, I know the feeling. So they said I wanted to do film, but then I moved into gaming because it has all of the things: art, music, animation, acting, writing, and hundreds of other things it could be, Naum said. At the end of the day, you get to play with it, or get to play it. Sorry, I thought it was... I added my own word in there. That's what makes games different from everything else. Yeah, it's a lot. Games are a lot of fun. I mean, if you can learn how to code, you can pretty much do anything. Anything your heart imagines, you can sit there and make it a reality. So I encourage a lot of people to go into programming, even if it isn't the end game. You'll develop a skill that you can apply to many other positions. So start now. If you're young and listening to me, go and learn how to code. If you're in your 20s to 30s, learn to code, Python in particular. Now it's been extended into Excel. So if you're into, not necessarily big data, because big data uses other tools than Excel, but will definitely use Python. You should learn at least Python. for that. If you're an artist, you can use Python to create animated works. Um, plus, the analytical aspect of it allows you to learn a different way than pure creativity, which tends to not be analytical.
Right, I guess that's a left brain, right brain thing.
Yeah, that's not, well, okay. I don't want to actually anything. At any rate,
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
You want to do it, just do it.
No, I'm not gonna. So if you can merge the two things that you're interested in together, then that's awesome, right? So this guy is a painter, artist, learned the programming aspect of it, and made a game. He's got 2 Switch controllers right there, but I don't see the Switch. Anyway, maybe I should stop looking at his desk. That's kind of creepy.
Maybe that's really not the focus of the article.
The next article. Oh, well, let me throw these 2 articles into chat while I remember. It did it again. The bot didn't throw the headline into the chat. It's weird. Anyway, so the next article's over in ohmTown Daily. 200 monster hunters armed with drones join the biggest search in 50 years for Scotland's fabled Loch Ness creature. Apparently, they're not calling it a monster anymore because its delicate sensitivities didn't like being labeled monster. Wow, that just dead air again, like nothing. What's going on? 200 volunteers are searching for the Loch Ness Monster this weekend. The operation in the Scottish Highlands is the biggest of its kind in 50 years. The search for Nessie has been underway for 1,300 years. Are you kidding? Do you think anybody cared about it?
Maybe it's not there.
Maybe it got sick of people poking around and it went to a different loch. One with Ness people around it.
Dun dun.
Dun, dun. The fabled Loch Ness Monster. Oh, they said it. Oh, they said it. They said the quiet part out loud. Oh, poor Lockie. You're not a monster. You're just misunderstood.
Maybe that's why it goes into hiding.
Yeah, all you people stomping around over there. 200 people stomping around, and friends, associates, family, whoever else, plus drones. You're never going to find this thing. It's attracting the biggest search operation in 50 years, though. The elusive monster. Again, they said it. God, it's so diminishing. Affectionately nicknamed Nessie, is a fixture of Scottish folklore and is believed to inhabit the deep lake in the Scottish Highlands. The legendary beast has eluded capture and definitive proof since it was first spotted, but that spotted was that. I don't know.
You know, I mean, that's sure looks like the Loch Ness Monster to me.
Sure. So Rebecca Roman over at businessinsider.com put the article together. And I just showed that picture. That it's a Getty image, but it's the 1934 surgeon's photo of the Loch Ness Monster, now deemed a hoax. So, I don't know.
I don't think they had photo editing in 1934 like they do now.
Yeah, but it's such a horrible photo. I mean, it's good for the time, but it's horrible. I don't know if it's good for the time either, but this could be a cardboard cutout and somebody is swimming underneath. You know, quick, take the picture, publish it. Oh, it's a thing. Or they were just out there, right? Like the person that was in Florida swimming around with a shark fin on his back. And everybody thought it was a shark, and then somebody comes walking up. Oh.
I think we had an article about that one.
Yeah, you prankster, you golly. So 1,300 years, somebody has been apparently swimming around pretending to be the Loch Ness Monster.
So what do you think it is about lakes and monsters? Because I'm aware of another country that has I can't remember the name of it, but they have kind of a legend like the Loch Ness Monster, not as well known. Is it just like the water is this mysterious
Well,
area or
I don't
something
know.
else?
Some parent could be trying to keep their kids out of the damn pool, and that's what you end up with, you know? And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I know somebody that said to a child that they had to clean up their toys, otherwise ants would get in the cars and drive them around, and you'd find them in the wrong locations the next day and lose them. That was pretty funny. You basically make the threat, you know, hey, the Loch Ness Monster is going to eat you if you dive into that water, and
That's kind of brutal, but I guess it keeps kids from getting in water when they're not able to.
it's that's a parent's job, is to keep their child safe and to grow them into
Terrified.
holistic human beings, and put them in therapy for life.
Right.
So the legendary beast has eluded capture, and definitive proof that it was reportedly first spotted in the 6th century. The modern myth of Nessie began more recently, when in 1933 a hotel manager claimed to have seen a whale-like creature in the loch. I don't remember how close the hotel was to the loch. I'm curious now. This weekend, though, 200 monsters went surveying the lake. They are descending to on the highlands, better equipped than their predecessors, using flying and underwater drones to survey the lake, which is 788 feet deep and 23 miles long. They're also employing infrared cameras to determine heat spots, and a hydrophone that can pick up acoustic signals 60 feet below the loch's surface. But it's 778 feet deep, folks, so I don't think it's going to pick up jack. So some people say that it's a dinosaur. No, don't be goofy. It's no dinosaur. It's aliens. Oh, look at that. We gotta go. I've said too much. Hey, the next article's over in Technology Today. ARC takes its electric boat on tour. Here's what a ride feels like and sounds like. I'm gonna summarize this. So this is what it feels like, and this is what it sounds like. Oh, okay.
I was waiting for the effects.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. The electric boat rides like bzzz, and it sounds like mm. So, Kirkland, Washington, Lake Washington in August may be known for its gas-fueled, ear-splitting thunderboats, but this week it also played host to an electric-powered lightning boat that was much easier on the ears. I'm just going to go straight on over to the source of this. It's over at geekwire.com. Alan Boyle is the author of this article. This doesn't look like a lightning boat to me, but okay. They're checking out the Arc 1 electric boat at the Carillon, I guess, Point Dock in Kirkland, Washington.
It looks like a regular boat to me.
It looks like a pretty sedate boat. I mean, it's an optical illusion that, like, the boat ends right there at that gray line, but it's that's painted. It goes back further, but it almost looks like like a dinghy. I don't know what the price is of this beast, but it's a 24-foot luxury cruiser up to the Kirkland Carillon Point Dock to give potential buyers in the Seattle area and at least one landlubber journalist an up-close look and a quick jaunt around Lake Washington. So here, Sorry for the dead air.
It looks pretty calm.
I'm going to rewind it. Now you can hear it better.
So my name is Miriam Morris, and you asked how it's different from a usual boat. Well, first thing is you don't hear anything except for the music and the water. So it's just an overall much better experience on a boat. You're not breathing.
So a little bit of a hint for this is that they got their inspiration from Tesla. So there is there's no dials or anything on the dash except for a touch screen right smack in the center of it. It's fine. It's quiet. With all the batteries that are in it, it has to be pretty damn stable. I don't know how fast it goes, but it says here he said ARC brought its roadshow to Lake Washington because of Puget Sound region. Like other markets include Lake Tahoe, Salt Lake City, and Austin, Texas, has the right kind of demographics. Pushing the throttle forward raises the amps on the 375 kilowatt electric motor, which is equivalent in power to a 500 horsepower engine, so twice the typical car. They were prepared for the motor's hum to get louder as it accelerated, but they weren't prepared for the sensation of having the bow rise up before me as we pushed through the water. Yikes, they said. Yeah, I mean, just like a car, it's going to have instantaneous on, no spooling up. All you have to do is push the pedal or the throttle forward and off you go. Herringshaw explained that the 3,000 pounds of batteries beneath the floorboards contributed to the aluminum craft's stability. Those battery packs account for nearly half of ARC 1's total weight of 6,500 pounds. So again, batteries are wildly heavy. So a lot of the energy that's being used to move this boat forward is actually being used to pull these or push these batteries along. At least water and its buoyancy allows it to be offset by the hull itself. So hopefully it lasts a little bit longer. But it says here that it's 5 hours of typical cruising. More if you are trawling around at 5 miles per hour and less if you're ripping around at 40 miles per hour. It takes 12 to 14 hours to charge up the boat using a level 2 EV charger, typically available for home. If you go to superchargers, it says 1 to 2, but it actually is, it's really fast in the beginning, and then the 80 to 100% takes forever. So by now you're wondering about the bottom line. The price for the ARC 1 is $300,000.
Wow, I mean, that sounds really accessible to people.
Yeah, boats are luxury vehicles, even if you're a fisherman using it to survive off of the fish you catch. It just seems like a really expensive endeavor, no matter what size it is. You have the trailer and upkeep and dock fees and just...
Well, we remember the favorite 2 days of boat owners' existence.
That's right. What are they?
The day you buy the boat and the day you sell the boat.
It's like marriage.
Hey. That's not very nice to all the married listeners that may be tuned in.
Maybe. So the next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Drought hit Panama Canal to restrict access for a year. So there's so much traffic and so little clean water that the Panama Canal is a little constipated right now. The drought hit Panama Canal will maintain stricter restrictions on the passage of ships for 1 year, a measure that has already led to the marine traffic jam as boats line up to enter the waterway linking two oceans. Okay, so I don't know who the brain was that came up with the idea of using fresh water for its lock mechanisms, but for crying out loud.
Me neither. I mean, a little short-sighted. Why couldn't they see 100 years later it was going to cause a problem?
Find some way to remedy this. I mean, it's ridiculous, but
I
it.
wonder if it's the only one. I know we've looked at others that are not freshwater, but I don't know if it's the only one.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I think I looked into it once, but I don't remember it now. But this seems like what is there's like a level difference between the Pacific and the Atlantic, and I think it's like 2 inches or something like that. I
Well,
say
and it
just tear
gets
it all
more
out.
confusing than that. There's a lake. Well, it's an
In
artificial lake.
between. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 points on it. But I say just line a whole bunch of C4 in a straight line and just level it all out so that it's all one thing and you just bisect right on through. But this
Okay, but
generates
if you did that, how many years or decades would that take? And then, that's the problem. We can't stop commerce.
All right. So in 2022, an average of 40 ships crossed through the canal a day, a number which has now dropped to 32 to save water. The measures have caused a backup of ships waiting to enter the 80-kilometer waterway, which is mainly used by clients from the United States, China, Japan. On Thursday, some 130 boats were waiting, compared to the 90 usually in the queue, which it's 2 days of waiting, even at 90. The churn. Waiting times, usually between 3 and 5 days, have gone up to 19 days at a time, although they currently stand at around 11. That's insane. So earlier this month, canal operators said the restrictions were likely to result in a $200 million drop in earnings in 2024 compared to this year, or they're going to raise the rates because, you have to go around all of that. Or wasn't there? Yeah. You have to go around all of that to get there, or go to the East Coast. So
Yeah,
you have to go.
Wouldn't that be easier maybe to go? Well, it depends on where you're coming from, I guess. But maybe if you went to the East Coast and used ground transportation, but not if you had to circumnavigate the whole globe, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Everything from the West Coast would have to come to the East Coast and then whatever is going to go to the other side, no. And then to get around to the West Coast from the East Coast is going to be pretty dangerous. Yeah, so there you go, folks. If you thought that your package being delivered was going to be late, yeah, it's going to be really late.
Yeah, I hope you mailed your holiday presents in
That's
June
right.
or something.
Nobody has. So I switched over to the next article, but let me clean this up and we'll go on to the next article again. Here, hold on one second, folks. Okay, so let's do this again. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. High-income Americans rarely mix with poorer people. Restaurants like Applebee's and Olive Garden are the exception. That's why I titled this section, "Oh no, we don't eat with the poors," except Olive Garden. Americans are even less likely to mix with people from different socioeconomic classes than pre-pandemic. We're working remotely and shopping online more and venturing outside of our own neighborhoods less. New research shows that affordable chain restaurants are the exception. So if you want to meet someone making a lot more or a lot less money than you, try your local food service chain like Applebee's.
Particularly Olive Garden or Applebee's.
Apparently. Juliana Kaplan and Eliza Relman, Eliza Relman, put this article together for BusinessInsider.com. And the they have these little kind of takeaway brief statements. New research shows that affordable chain restaurants are the exception for socioeconomic classes to meld together like a melting pot, one would call. That's a good idea for an entire country to be a melting pot. Huh. Anyway, apparently that doesn't work for the rich and the poors. We're all not supposed to mix together, apparently. So no, really, restaurant chains like Olive Garden and Applebee's are America's socioeconomic melting pot. Wait a minute. I didn't read this beforehand. That they're saying what I just was joking about. My mocking tones are becoming real. A paper from Maxim Massenhoff and Nathan Wilmers of the Naval Postgraduate School and Harvard University, respectively, looks at where Americans of different classes are more likely to rub shoulders. Hey, politics. Anyway, the most socioeconomically diverse places in America are not public institutions like schools and parks, but affordable chain restaurants apparently are. I can tell you.
I would never have said that if you had a quiz or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably not anticipate Olive Garden and Applebee's in particular, because I think that it's regular everyday fare. It's not. Maybe that's it. It has a broad gamut, so it's really expensive for some things like alcohol and inexpensive stuff like all you can eat whatever. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. The researchers use SafeGraph mobile location data that tracks how many people are at a certain location and where the people live, which can be indicative of income. Using that data, they were able to see how many visitors from varying income brackets frequent different establishments and how isolated Americans of different classes are. That's an interesting discovery if it were valid. I don't know. Beyond the weirdness factor of tracking people based on where they are as indicator of their socioeconomic status, I find it, I don't know, odd that you can actually make that determination that where they came from over there is the rich part. Which I guess there's rich neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods, right?
Right, I guess maybe based on property values.
It seems kind of weird, stalkerish. But tracking is tracking. Bulk data is bulk data. It doesn't really mean much. I don't really have a dog in the hunt. It's just an observation that I think is kind of weird. So the socioeconomic isolation has grown even more stark since the pandemic. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology found that far fewer people visited neighborhoods where residents made significantly more or less money than they did in December 2021 than in January 2019. Interactions between people of different socioeconomic backgrounds dropped by up to 30% during that time period, long after COVID lockdowns were lifted, according to tracked cell phone data. Well, could it be that there's fewer people out and fewer people finding that they need to leave, so they only hang out more in the area where they are? And they don't go out into society in general?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's really what the issue is. Like, what do people do kind of post-pandemic? They maybe go out for food, and that's about it, right?
So it says, it says here, as the researchers note, all of that could mean rethinking policy situations for getting Americans from different income brackets to socialize, especially in some areas prioritized cutting back on the number of chain restaurants they allow. After all, research from Harvard economist Raj Chetty has found that being friends with high earners is key to your economic mobility, but many lower earners or earning Americans make friends based on proximity. That's why cross-income areas for socializing are important. You might just meet that rich new friend at Chili's.
I mean, who knew? You've heard it here first.
Hi, this is my poor friend.
Well, I think it's worse than the whatever they're calling this, the fast casual. The worst was like if you're at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's only going one direction, basically.
So you can do the both sides, right? This is my rich friend and this is my poor friend. You can have the shirt that says, you know how it says I'm with stupid and it points in a direction?
Oh, right.
And, you know, I'm with the rich person and the other one says I'm with the poor person. Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
balanced
and
as
I guess
all
you'd have a
things.
different shirt for each restaurant that you're going to.
There you go. That's right. I went to Olive Garden and all I got was this rich friend and unlimited salad and breadsticks. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. A mystery company backed by Silicon Valley billionaires has purchased tens of thousands of acres of land for more than $800 million to build a new city near San Francisco. Oh no. Here it comes. So, a company called Flannery Associates has been purchasing land in the county near San Francisco. The company has set up more than $15,000 per acre. Court documents show Silicon Valley has long sought to build a new city from scratch. This sounds creepy.
I don't even know what to make of this.
This is the kind of thing you read about in a novel. What was the name of the novel where the fruit was making people forget their past as a treatment for PTSD?
I don't. Was it a TV show?
Yeah.
It had Julia Roberts in it.
Correct.
But I can't remember. It started with a C.
Okay, you're fired. So the article's over at businessinsider.com by Lloyd Lee. And who these people are, sure, you can take a look, but it doesn't really matter to me. It's just, I wanted to talk about this for just a moment because I think that it's really weird that a bunch of people are getting together to spend $15,000 per acre to buy up land so that they can build a city or a town or whatever, a community that is obviously going to be for the rich. And while San Francisco starts eating itself from its core out, the people are going to be buying up more land instead of actually solving problems. I guess that's just me though. But I've seen videos of some shenanigans going on in San Francisco and Silicon Valley in general. Prices are through the roof. People can't live there. It's extraordinarily long times to get into the city from outside where it is cost effective to live, which is pretty much Arizona.
Right. Although that may not be because you probably won't be able to get insurance, even though that wasn't yet one of the states.
Yeah.
By the way, the show was called Homecoming. It did not start with a C.
There you go. Homecoming was a great.
My spelling module is completely broken.
Yeah, large language model did not include Homecoming. That's a great show, by the way. I think it ended prematurely, but I for whatever reason, I thought that there was more world building there. But they pivoted so fast in the last season just to chop it all off. It was unfortunate, an unfortunate decision. But maybe they saw different economics than I did. The Wall Street Journal reported that Flannery has purchased about 52,000 acres of farmland around Travis Air Force Base since 2018. That's interesting. Why would they purchase it around Travis Air Force Base?
I don't know. I mean, is that just generally the region that maybe the land is available near that and it's not developed?
Well, I read another article that there was a mystery company buying land
Yes.
around a military base in North Carolina or something. I don't remember where it was,
I
or
thought it
maybe it
was
was,
like Montana or
yeah,
somewhere, but
maybe it was. I'm not sure where it was anymore, but and they questioned that one. According to the report, government officials began investigating the purchases due to concerns that foreign interests may be behind the company. But I don't think it was in California that I read
no,
about.
I'm pretty certain it was not.
So is this another? Wow, that's really interesting. If it's another discovery, I'll have to look through ohmTown and see if I can find the other article. According to the Times, the company is led by Jan Ceramic, I guess, Ceramic, a 36-year-old former Goldman Sachs trader. Backers include Andreessen, Powell Jobs, Michael Moritz of Sequoia Capital, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and others, according to the report. So I'm sure that this will be a walled garden. It's unclear how much they each invested in the company. In 2017, Flannery Associates pitched an idea to turn the Solano County land into a walkable city powered by clean energy and housing tens of thousands of residents, the Times reported. Real estate data showed that the current median housing price in the county is $585,000.
I don't even understand this. I mean, I guess I'm so used to established cities, but I don't even know what's required to kind of create a new city.
Own the land and develop it. That's it. Sell the property like bit by bit, plot by plot, and off you go. Get zoning and all of that. Tie it into local and state water lines, power lines, sewage. Make sure that there's enough support infrastructure, fire, police, water supply.
But I'm assuming the land is currently associated with some other city or at least some other county, because it could be unincorporated or whatever,
Correct.
but it's
Yeah,
just interesting.
It can be completely outside of everything. And nobody necessarily wants it until it becomes an asset. So if they don't have to babysit it, then it stays outside. But this is the kind of thing when it does develop, because it isn't rural anymore, it's going to be hard blue. Like deep, deep, deep blue.
Right.
But the spending price has since soared, with Flannery spending up to $15,000 per acre. So the lawsuit alleges Flannery overpaid the owners by about $170 million and is seeking damages of $510 million. And that's because in May, the attorneys for Flannery filed a lawsuit against a group of Solano County landowners, saying they conspired to inflate their land prices. It's always interesting that if Flannery could have gotten away with suckering people to pay below or pressuring them to pay below market values because something is going on and they've balkanized the purchases to use dummy companies, that would have been just fine. Good business deals. But a bunch of people working together because they see some shit going down and they all go, you know what? They must have some freaking $1 billion. Let's start getting ours. Suddenly, it's a legal issue. Kiss my ass. That's insane.
Well, that tracks with your title for this article. And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those kids, I think.
Yeah. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those darn kids. All right, Scooby and Scrappy auditors looking into this company. This is probably the suckiest part of this whole thing. Not only are they seeking $170 million, but they're trying to get, because they say that they got taken for more than $170 million over whatever it is they paid. They want $510 million in return. God, these people suck. Oh, Jesus. It's
Is
just
that how you
insane.
really feel?
Yeah. Uh, I won't even. The rest of this is, you know, for all the altruistic that might have been implied by doing this because they're spending their money. No, they're not spending or risking anything. You would have to spend all of your money on this and then somehow turn it into a super fun site for you to lose money in owning thousands of acres of land between Sacramento and San Francisco. Stockton might be a hellhole for some people, but you know, Fremont, San Francisco, San Jose is jam packed with people. Them trying to get all of that land up there, Solano County, for crying out loud, it's going to be worth trillions of dollars. There's no freaking risk. It's the reason why it's open right now is because nobody can individually afford it. But when the clique conspires to build something grandiose, that's good. But when people conspire to maximize their profit and benefit, it's bad. So scummy. Anyway, next article is over in Hatch Ideas channel. Amazon will soon let you pay for groceries with your palm at any Whole Foods, but tech experts urge caution. I do too. Biometric payment options use physical features like your hand to authorize payments, but tech experts warn this convenience comes at a cost. Yeah, your identity is taken. I've neglected to put some of these other articles into the chat as usual. There's 12 of them, and I just lose track of 3 to 4 at a time. And now we're back at the article, so let me grab it and throw it into the chat.
I just don't get this obsession with body parts, I guess, too. Right? We've got all this biometric stuff.
Mm-hmm. Scan your eyeball, scan your finger, body cavity search. Cheyenne Devon over at CNBC.com put this article together. And I guess it's going to be tried at the Whole Foods. You basically put your hand on a scanner and boom. Amazon One is a type of biometric-based form of payment which uses your unique physical features such as your face or palm print to authorize payments. See, at the end of the day, the objective is to reduce friction to nothing. But people aren't comfortable with RFID tags on items and they can just walk out of the store with it and it gets charged. Apparently that doesn't work for Amazon stores. And I don't know about Apple because I haven't read much about Apple stores where you can just grab something and leave. And because of the proximity between you and other devices, your devices, it charges you. So here's how it generally works. You sign up for a biometric payment program such as Amazon One by providing your credit or debit card information and other details like your phone number or valid ID, depending on the retailer. Then you scan your hand, face, or fingerprints, which are attached to your user profile. And then from there, you can use your hand, face, or fingerprints to pay at certain participating locations. They needed a big paragraph to explain that.
Yes, that was very in-depth.
Yeah. And so it's supposed to lower friction, but to me, it also allows somebody, if they were to exploit security weaknesses, to get actually not just identifiable, but verifiable information. So when you're talking about factors of authentication, if I've got your palm print, then I don't know, well, this sounds so conspiratorial, but I could make a duplicate handprint of you and go commit a crime. But it would be hard. It may be hard to leave a fingerprint because you don't have the sebaceous glands. that leave oil that impart your fingerprint. So I don't know about that part, but I don't like the idea of some willy-nilly person having access to an iris scan or fingerprint. I don't even like them having long-term access to my x-rays, for crying out loud. Doctors say it's great, but digital all of this.
I'm sure it's great when it's used how it's supposed to be used, but
And I'm a futurist. I believe in tech. I want tech to be out there, but I really don't think society is ready to have control over information to that degree. I don't even, and it just gets used in ways that it shouldn't be used. People who are just curious about some customer that walks into the store and they start looking at the records that this person has purchased, or where they might live, or all kinds of stuff, and it just doesn't speak well of society. So it says, why biometric payment options spark security concerns, since your hand or face is completely unique to you and can't go missing in the way that your credit card or debit card can. Some may argue that it's more a secure form of payment, but that's not necessarily so. Artificial intelligence technology could be used to create fake versions of your face, voice, handprint. Reality Hacker is pretty much, the channel for which this is like Scrooge McDucking this information, right? Because yes, I've done this. I've actually have recreated fingerprints. I've recreated voices. You can go to a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com and it looks like a person. And then you can use AI to extrude it into a three-dimensional model, and then I can wireframe it onto my face so that instead of you looking at me, you're looking at this synthetic human. And I keep noodling around with doing it, but I never finish the job. Too many other things going on. So it says corporations have a really terrible track record of keeping our personal information safe. True. There are hacks all the time. There are hacks that nobody knows about yet. There are hacks that are ongoing that the people that are being victimized don't even know is going on. And take it from somebody who's received multiple letters of disclosure at various locations that their data has been lost into the wild. I won't drop names, but anyway. And that's what this article is all about. So go and check it out. I would not do it. I would not allow anything to take my personally identifiable information off of the device that I actually own. If it's portable anywhere, I'm not interested.
yeah, I really don't like this. And I mean, we all know like a lot of people use Amazon and it's convenient and it has a lot of things, but it has a lot of things. Like it connects so many different industries, and like I think there's more harm in a large company like this having access to this than like a little tiny shop that's barely online and is a local company.
Yep. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Luxury overland vehicle maker Earth Cruiser has teamed up with GMC to turn the Hummer EV into a beefy electric RV. We're going to take a look inside because Business Insider always does this right. Brittany Chang and Tim Levin are the authors of this article. Let me grab the URL and throw it in the chat real quick. So Earth Cruiser is turning a Hummer EV pickup truck into an overland pop-up home on wheels, complete with a bed, kitchen, and bathroom. That's some small quarters. So we'll just take a quick look at it. I don't know. Is that...
You like your RVs, Buff?
That's a Ford. That's just a Ford, like F-250 or something. Let me see what it actually is. Oregon-based Earth Cruiser builds big, buff. Yes. AI, I do like my EV RV. What was the rest of it? SUV. I like them buff.
Alphabet soup here.
Yeah, I like my EVs buff, and I cannot lie. So Hummer is best known for its line of gas-guzzling military-inspired SUVs, but now the brand has gone full EV. It actually did. This is it, and it's a beast from everything that I've heard. I've never driven one, though. Not that I'm impressed by that kind of stuff. I think it's cool, but I'm not like fanboy for anything except maybe Starfield. Anyway, legacy companies like Winnebago and Mercedes-Benz Vans have unveiled concept electric campers, but for the most part, they've been just that, concepts. But apparently Earth Cruiser is working with Hummer to build off of the EV chassis and turn it into a camper, an RV. It seems like it would be kind of stubby, though, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that picture makes it look like you have enough room, but I was thinking, how are you going to have enough room to sleep?
That has to be above the cab, yeah. So this part right here, and if you're looking at the stream or the video, the podcast won't do you any good, but anyway, that part right here is above the cabin, and so it's basically like two twin beds sitting in here. That's actually pretty impressive. But it looks like it has a kitchen, stovetop. I don't know where the bathroom and shower would be. This kind of starts to freak me out. But let's see. The sink and shower will source fresh water from a 13.5 gallon tank and dump the dirty water into a 7-gallon one. Guess there's no 1-to-1.
What happens when you use up all the clean water? Where does it go since the
Time
tank
to start
isn't
drinking the
enough?
gray water. Or black water. But there's still suits out there now, so you can always do that. The Hummer EV can drive up to 329 miles on a full charge, according to the EPA, but expect less due to the camper's extra weight and drag. There's no way it gets 329, but okay. Maybe downhill in a
How is that
hurricane.
possible, as nothing else seems to actually get that, and it is hauling less, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger the battery, the bigger the drain, too, so I don't quite get it. But maybe it does in the lab, but at least road trippers will have somewhere comfy to kick back during charging stops. You'll be able to buy the Hummer
there
EV.
is that.
Yeah, upfit, it says, in 2024 through Earth Cruiser. So it looks like it's going to be...
There is one thing I like about it, though. I mean, think about gas-guzzling RVs. Like, this is a definite improvement over that.
That's right. It's a battery-guzzling RV that uses
exactly
coal-fired energy plants to charge up.
Right, and questionable, and I'm saying that lightly, labor practices to get the components for batteries.
Right. Correct. Oh, man. Peeling back the layer of the onion.
I'm kind of liking that RV.
So the next article is over in the Warcrafter section. Baldur's Gate 3 used motion capture from 248 actors to bring its NPCs to life. Quote, you're not only hearing the actors' voices, but you're also seeing their physical performances. If they keep raising the bar for development of games, Starfield will actually be the location that competition will have to reach to compete with Baldur's Gate in terms of quality of the product. It's phenomenal. And okay, so I have to say that I didn't play Baldur's Gate. I watched hundreds of hours of people playing Baldur's Gate, and the storytelling was fantastic. You actually bonded with the characters to a point where when one was on the verge of something happening, you were sitting there cheering for this character. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that's out there.
Is this one based on Unreal Engine?
I don't know if Unreal Engine is used in that. I think it's their own Larian Studios.
Oh, okay, right.
So I think Baldur's Gate is their own. I don't know if they used. Yeah, they used Divinity. It's their own Larian Studios adapted version of it's a homemade engine by Larian Studios.
Oh, okay.
So the work, it was just phenomenal. And so you're disappointed in some points because you anticipated someone doing something and they didn't do it, but it could have been because in another playthrough with somebody else that I watched, that person said something, and it's because of the previous choices that the player made in other storylines. Just amazing from end to end. I liked this game. Again, I was just a viewer of many people playing it. So to find out that there were 248 actors that were actually being mocapped and their voice being used just blows me away. So the article's over at pcgamer.com. Ted Litchfield is the author. The deck statement says Baldur's Gate 3 performance director Aliona Baranova broke down the process. And it's in this article. So let me link you to the article over here in chat. You can go and check it out at your leisure. But it says one thing that's almost immediately apparent in Baldur's Gate 3 is the quality of its character animations. It's hard to pick just one example, but Lae'zel's freaky little head jerks as she rants about the Gake definitely come to mind for that writer. In fact, there were elements where so I thought that it was a glitch, a technical glitch. I still don't know, because they're talking about little head jerks might be something that he saw and paid attention to, but there were elements where the scene would reset for a particular line of speech, but it was like a big frame jump and not fluid. That was one of the cinematic issues that I had with the game, but very few things were like broke my immersion, at least for me. So it says, it turns out the way that Larian managed the level of animation detail was with ludicrous amount of targeted motion capture of the game's many voice actors. So that's what I've noticed, is that it was segments of motion capture for each of the lines. So you would see a person, it's kind of like a continuity report thing. A person would be looking over here, but when the next line that was mocapped came into existence, their head would snap like that, and it wouldn't be a turn. It would just be 1 minute this way and then pop that way. Still, you stopped caring about that because the story was so good and the graphics were so great, and the interaction and choose your own adventure nature of the game became very well known, that you had so many options, and they changed depending on your previous interactions. It was a lot of fun.
I guess I'm thinking, since the graphics and everything were so spot on, to me that would stand out more, but I understand what you're saying.
Gotcha. You basically just said, okay, it's not a big deal. And there isn't really much more to this article, but they say that Baranova describes the performance director role as working to ensure the choices actors were making vocally match what they were doing physically, and that this was clear when looking at the mocap. The attention to craft certainly helped bring Baldur's Gate 3's winning main cast to life. But the author of the article is just blown away that similar attention was paid to more minor NPCs. And there were a lot of NPCs that were just walking around town and having conversations and people that you interacted with having conversations. And it was all mocapped. It's just phenomenal. The breadth and depth and skill of this game has really set the bar high for the industry. And I think the industry is going to crash around it because nothing's going to measure up for the next 5 years, if ever. This really just crushed it. And hopefully either Larian goes, no, I think we're done because we can never do this again, or they get so much money thrown at them that the next game is going to be as good as this.
But don't you feel like the bar is going to be just ridiculously high? I mean, because Baldur's Gate 3 has really knocked it out of the park. Like it's crashing records and everything in terms of users, etc.
Yeah. I really think that the industry is shaking in their boots. Let me check something real quick. So right now, Baldur's Gate right now has 545,000 players playing it.
Like right now, at the
Yeah.
moment during your show.
Yeah. Well, 15 minutes ago. And the 24-hour peak was 655,616.
Wow.
Yeah, people love this game. I think the only number one really is like Call of Duty kind of a thing. Counter-Strike,
Right, there
Global
was
Offensive.
Counter-Strike, that's right.
Yep. And I think Baldur's Gate missed is missing the current. Oh, no. Baldur's Gate's peak of 875,343 is beat Counter-Strike Global Offensive's current number of players. But I think that it's had a much higher peak. Yeah, 1.8 million people played it simultaneously through Steam. Anyway, let's go on to the next article. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. 2 cabin crew too legit to quit. 2 cabin crew could be spending time in jail, or I don't know, probably getting fired. 2 cabin crew could be in big trouble after taking selfies on the wing of a Boeing 777. I titled this one, was the plane flying at the time? 2 Swiss flight attendants were spotted posing for selfies on the wing of a Swiss Boeing 777. They were pictured striking poses while the plane was at an airport in Buenos Aires. Airline representation denounced the behavior, calling a fall could be devastating. But a fall didn't take place, so I'm more worried about just the optics of you don't climb around on the wings. Not that they're like from the 1800s and paper thin and you're going to fall through them like, a drywall ceiling and a child. But anyway, the incident occurred in Buenos Aires earlier this month. You know what happens in Buenos Aires?
I feel like we just had, they have the large gene collection in the desert. No, that's Chile.
No, an asteroid hits them, according to, sorry, I'll just move on. This whole joke was just kind of falling apart.
Sorry.
Anyway,
about that.
A video circulating on social media and reported by outlets including the New York Post shows 2 flight attendants standing on the wing of a plane before a flight departed from Buenos Aires, Argentina on August 16th. Were they worried that their high heels might puncture a hole in the wing?
I think that was definitely it.
Ground
I
crew.
don't really get the issue here.
Everybody was. Ground crew can also be seen posing in front of an aircraft engine in the video, which appears to have been shot from the terminal. I hope not it wasn't shot by the. Anyway.
I know. I'm like,
What looks like fun in the video is actually life-threatening, said Michael Pelzer of Swiss. The spirit of OSHA is strong with this one. Come on. Naturally, if somebody got hurt, then they're idiots. But they're right. They could have been hurt or killed, depending on how they fell from a wing. So you just don't do it. So I suppose they get what they deserve, which really sucks because maybe they were really great and they just had a moment of stupidity. No passengers were on the plane when the crew embarked on their stunt, but apparently somebody saw it, recorded it, and turned them in. I mean, if nobody even saw it.
There is a video available on the site.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It should have been free publicity. The airline could have been like, look at our fun airline.
Yeah, they don't want people having fun on the wing.
Well, yeah.
Go inside the airline, for crying out loud. That's what an airplane is for, not the wing. Party pooper. I know. Let's go on to the last article. Last article is over in the Reality Hacker channel. Scientists working on smart contacts powered by human tears. And I said they should probably change their marketing because I don't know if you want something that's powered by human tears. I mean, this is like Monsters Incorporated.
Well, it actually reminds me of a Frog and Toad book. But anyway, that's fiction.
Too much. Okay. Scientists based out of Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, or NTU Singapore, have begun working on augmented reality contact lenses capable of displaying virtual information in the real world. That's why it's in Reality Hacker, folks. But here's the really interesting part. According to an official release from the university, these high-tech contacts are powered by human tears. I suppose it's a battery that's capable of charging off of the saltiness of your tears. So if you get really upset and start crying because, I don't know, you ran out of copium, you could short circuit your contacts. Kyle Melnick over at vrscout.com put this article together. And it says here, the team has begun development of a flexible battery roughly as thin as the human cornea. This extra slim battery, or ultra slim battery, is capable of storing electricity when in contact with a saline source, which can be found in tears. According to researchers, this solution can extend battery life up to 4 hours for every 12-hour cycle. Contacts can also be charged using an external battery. You know that little thing that you put your watch on? Now your eyes are going to get sucked out of your head onto that thing.
Oh boy.
Oh, my eyes are always dry when I charge them. I didn't throw that. I didn't throw this into the chat. So there you go, folks. Nom nom nom. The most common battery charging system for smart contact lenses require metal electrodes in the lens, which are harmful if they're exposed to the naked human eye. What time is it? 10:25? No shit news at 10:25. Metal parts on your eyeball are bad for you. Yes, true. Science. Meanwhile, another mode of powering lenses, induction charging, requires a coil, there we go, to be in the lens to transmit power, much like wireless charging pad for a smartphone. Our tear-based battery eliminates the two potential concerns that these two methods pose, while also freeing up space for future innovation in the development of smart contact lenses. I'd wear them, but that's because I'm really into VR, and I'd love to have augmented contact lenses that throw information in front of me. And if you are looking at me and you see data flowing across my eyes, that would be the shit. I would love it.
So creepy. I mean, it sounds like part of the Matrix, really.
Cyberpunk 2077 in 2023. Oh, bring it on. I want cybernetic augmentation. I just don't want what they have today, with like ports sticking out of your head and God, it's so messy. And then the funding for the prototype dries up and you're abandoned, like so much chattel. It sucks that the quality of life is going to suffer because a budget gets nipped. It's so sad. Anyway, that's a horrible way to end this. All I want is cybernetic contact lenses. Because, I mean, it's coming, folks. I just missed the window because y'all are going to enjoy some amazing tech in the next 50 years. And I'm going to be 100 plus, maybe.
Well, okay. Not sure about the math there, but
anyway. So that's it, folks. All kinds of new stuff coming out for everybody. New games, new hardware, new software. I don't know. I'm all caught up in the game. So we always bring you back to the front page, the main street of ohmTown. We mash that screen. There's been some wonky things going on lately, today in particular. So hopefully there isn't too much. But yeah, there is. Oh God,
well, I was actually looking at the brush fire on Maui at the very top, but I think you were scrolling past something else.
I did. How about a Hellboy roguelike that'll release on October 4th? Or Harley Quinn's weapon gets its most sinister upgrade in new cover art. I don't know.
By the way, the person who who did the voice acting for Harley Quinn passed away today. I saw that in the headlines right before the show.
The original Harley Quinn, like back in the day?
I'm not sure.
Not the new one.
I don't know.
That would be impossible because she's the one that does Barbie. It would be bigger news.
Oh, so right. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Let's see. Ghost Rider is the Marvel Universe's new most dangerous weapon. Ghost Rider is an amazing character. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch roll into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've been dying to see Ghost Rider play a character or be brought into the MCU. All right, folks, that's it. We're done. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. I am Mayor Watt, and that is ohmTown.com. And up there is the AI. You want to say bye? Oh, great AI.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Happy Saturday. We will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I might log in earlier, so be sure to follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube and download the podcast. And if you leave a 5-star review over on the podcast, on Apple Podcasts in particular, I will read it verbatim live as soon as I see it. That night. All right, folks. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.